The NCAA tournament is the biggest knockout tournament in American sports. 68 teams, 67 games, one champion. At face value, the tournament has hardly changed in 40 years. In 1985, 64 teams made the field, and it's grown by just 4 teams since, as 68 teams made the tourney beginning in 2010. However, for how similar the tournament seems, if you look under the hood, the tournament is on its way to killing one of the most interesting and unique parts of March Madness, the mid-major. Alright, we're going to take a step back for a sec. Let's talk about how teams get to make the NCAA tournament. This empty chart is the 68 spots of the 2025 NCAA tournament. 31 of those spots will be filled by what are known as automatic bids. All 31 Division I conferences will hold a conference tournament, the winner of which is guaranteed to make the NCAA tournament. So that gives us these teams. The rest of these spots are going to be assigned by the NCAA selection committee. They decide which teams go where and which teams make the tournament at all. That gives us these teams. These yellow teams represent the at-large teams, which is what we'll be looking at today. You can see how there are many teams that are automatically put in the NCAA tournament who are seated lower than the last at-large team, which shows how the NCAA tournament isn't just the 68 best teams. The next thing we need to understand is that while there are 31 conferences in the NCAA's top division of college basketball, not every conference is created equal. Traditionally, conferences are separated into 3 tiers: power conferences, the mid-majors, and the low majors. Power conferences are exactly what they sound like. They hold the power. Since 1985, they've won all but one national championship. Mid-majors are conferences that often feature a handful of tournament-caliber teams, but lack the consistent depth and league size of the power conferences. Finally, low majors are some of the least competitive conferences and often lack the funding and talent to truly compete. The power conferences are very clearly defined. The ACC, Big East, SEC, Big 12, and Big 10, as well as the currently defunct Pac-12, put at least 3 teams into the NCAA tournament every year for the last decade. So you can see there's a large variation in exactly how many teams they send, but there's a clear floor. So there's 6 power conferences that always send multiple teams to the NCAA tournament. I want to look at the rate at which the other conferences get multiple teams into the field. This chart shows the number of multi-bid conferences in each year since 1997. You can see that 2025 featured the lowest number of conferences to send multiple teams to the NCAA tournament ever. However, it's also true that conferences aren't the same each year due to what's known as realignment. Schools move from one conference to another, and conferences cease to exist. So let's take a look at how many individual non-power conference schools made the NCAA tournament via an at-large bid. From 1997 to 2014, there were 7 years that saw double-digit at-large bids to non-power conference programs. There's not been more than 8 in the last 10 tournaments. 2025 saw just 4, a tie for the lowest ever. So it's clear that the NCAA selection committee has stopped giving as many opportunities to these smaller conferences, but why is that happening? It's because there's a lot of different algorithms that are used by the selection committee to determine the strength of a team. Since there's over 350 Division I NCAA teams, it's impractical to have individuals watch every game. So these algorithms are created to rank and evaluate teams. The net rankings are officially referred to as the primary sorting tool for the selection committee. Before the invention of net, RPI was the main sorting tool that was used. Jason Rohner is a bracketologist, which means he attempts to understand and project who the selection committee will award at-large bids to. Here's Rohner's take on why replacing RPI with net hurts mid-majors.
The RPI really valued winning on the road. It really valued beating teams with good records. And, the modern metrics just don't really care that much about it. A road win over a team in the 100s just doesn't really do much for you. Whereas, I think RPI really respected those cumulative road wins.
Okay, so we know the RPI valued winning on the road and having better records, even against worse competition. Let's see how going away from the RPI has affected which teams make the tournament. So this is every mid-major who is given an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament, while also being ranked between 21st and 50th in RPI. That range is because 21st is the highest ranked team to ever miss the tournament, while 50th is the lowest ever non-power conference school to receive an at-large bid. You can really see how the distribution changed as the net replaced RPI for the 2019 season. Just 4 teams with RPIs in the 40s received at-large bids after 2019, while there were 4 in 2016 alone. Now let's contrast this chart with teams that missed the NCAA tournament. You can really see the consistent rise of the chart as more and more higher-ranked teams are left out over time. As more and more of these teams miss out, it becomes easier and easier for the power conference schools to get into the tournament, as we saw earlier. There's not a single team inside the RPI top 30 that missed the NCAA tournament from 2010 to 2018. After net was introduced, there were 6 and 6 tournaments. When these deserving mid-major teams get left out, it's soul-crushing for them. Look at the words they use. Here's Atlantic 10 Commissioner Bernadette McGlade on St. Bonaventure's inclusion in 2016. Indiana State head coach Josh Schertz after his Sycamores were left out in 2024. Writer Mark Cannizzaro when Monmouth missed the tournament in 2016. Middle Tennessee State senior Nick King, who found out his season wouldn't continue in 2018. SMU head coach Larry Brown to a crowd of Mustang supporters who had gathered to watch the selection show in 2014. VCU head coach Mike Rhodes after his team, which had been denied the chance to play in the previous year's NCAA tournament due to a COVID outbreak, found out that they would not get a shot at redemption. And Pacific head coach Bob Thomason after conference rival Utah State was left out of the field in 2004. Now, it's true that the switch from RPI to net has certainly allowed for more talented teams to make the NCAA tournament. Net evaluates team talent better. My argument is simple. Who cares? The NCAA tournament already doesn't feature the best 68 teams as a result of those automatic bids to the weaker, low-major conferences. The final at-large bids go to 10, 11, and 12 seeds. None of those teams have ever even made a national championship game. So let's give out a couple more at-large bids to mid-majors who don't win their conference tournament, even after having great seasons. Let's give them a fighting chance. In 2025, there were 79 power conference teams. 38 of them made the NCAA tournament. There were 272 non-power conference teams. Just 30 made the NCAA tournament. Look at how much harder it is to make the NCAA tournament as a mid or low major. It's over 4 times harder. Even if we brought back the RPI and gave those little schools just the smallest bit of help, it would still be over 3 times easier to make the tournament as a power conference school. Now, let's look at the last 5 years. 5 years is about as long as someone can play college basketball, as each player has 4 years of eligibility and can gain 1 extra year through a redshirt. 6 out of 7 power conference schools have made the NCAA tournament in the last 5 years. Just over half of the non-power conference schools have. It's just so much harder for mid-majors to make the NCAA tournament, and when you set up the system in a way that benefits the power conference schools, it makes the mountain all that more difficult to climb. For almost every mid-major, the dream of winning the national championship isn't what admission to the NCAA tournament is all about. Most mid and low majors will never even get close to a Final Four or national championship game. All they can dream for, all they work for, is just the opportunity to play in the tournament. I want to end this video by showing you a game. It's the 2022 Southern Conference Championship, Furman versus Chattanooga. Chattanooga hasn't been to an NCAA tournament in 7 years. All their players were in high school or middle school back then. Furman hasn't been in 40. They've played over 1,200 games since then. They can end it right now. The winner of this game gets to go to the NCAA tournament. They're going to get to play. Look at what it means to them, just to get the chance to play.
Let him play. Jean-Baptiste with 1. Heaves it for the win. Oh! Chattanooga with a game-winning shot in overtime, and a shot he will never forget. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, real quick, last thing. The next year, Furman finally did get over the hump. They made the NCAA tournament, and look what they did. Look what it means to them to do what they did.
Playing with 4 guards, and the 4 guards out there, along with Cedric, are their best free throw shooters.
Clark in a straight jacket.
Oh, he didn't need to do that.
He threw it away. In, Pegues. Furman leads. Timeout, Virginia. Did we just see what we think we just saw? Wow. At a time. It's Beekman. Good if it goes. Furman is ready.